Mrs. Norris, you claim Johnny B. Norris Sr. has been denying he fathered your son for the past 22 years. You say today's paternity results will prove him wrong.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Norris, you state that you've always known that Johnny Jr. is not your son, and today you believe the DNA will finally prove it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Norris, did the defendant ever acknowledge Jr. as his son?
Yes, Your Honor, he did. After having my son, we were married by my father in our front yard. We had a yard wedding, Your Honor.
It was a shotgun wedding, Your Honor. When she became pregnant, I myself, I thought it'd be the right thing to do as far as marrying her. I was kind of forced into it due to the circumstances. But I loved her at the time, Your Honor. I don't deny that.
Yes, ma'am. It wasn't forced. And as he said, we were in love. I know that I was head over heels with him. And after having our son, we was married, and we lived with my family for a while, Your Honor.
And why do you think, if he says he loves you, you all were married, you had your son, why does he deny your son?
That I don't know, Your Honor.
His grandmother said that I wasn't his father.
I don't believe that. And if she did say that to him, it was because she was just so fed up.
Okay, take me back, though. I want to understand this, because you said you all got married in the yard.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, you had just had your son and named him Junior.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
you named
Your Honor.
after Senior over here.
Yes, Your Honor.
What went wrong?
She'd go out from time to time for a couple of days consecutive, and in the same breath, I was a young man. I was about 20 years old at the time, and I felt like she was sleeping around on me with her ex. And that her ex is the name that her mom used when she said that I wasn't his father, so-and-so was his father.
But Your Honor, that is incorrect. I was not sleeping around with my ex. I was totally in love with Mr. Norris here. And on my son's 8th birthday, that is the last time we seen him.
What happened?
He left. He disappeared.
On your son's 8th birthday?
No, ma'am, that's not how it happened at all.
What happened?
Actually, what happened was prior to his birthday, her and I wasn't getting along. There wasn't no need me hanging around. And like I said, she had been gone. You know, she'd be gone from time to time. So I was basically just there, you know, him and I.
But Your Honor, he was the cheater.
So
okay?
I moved to Seattle.
So you said she was cheating, she says you were cheating.
Yes, he was the cheater.
But why do you pick his 8th birthday to leave?
It wasn't on his birthday.
Junior, do you remember any of this?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do?
Last time I seen this man, he sat me on my lap, let me know that he was parting ways. I don't remember in detail.
He was parting ways with you or your mom?
No, parting ways. He had to leave and he'll be back.
Oh.
Your Honor, when I left, I had no intentions of coming back. So that's not true because I was done. I moved to Seattle. When I left Florida, I moved to Seattle. I wanted to get way away from it. So I moved to Seattle.
I'm reiterating.
And he wasn't the reason why I left. It was the mom. Because her and I wasn't getting along, and there was no love there. Why hang around? You know, and like.
So, Ms. Norris, up until this point, was there any doubt with respect to the paternity?
No, ma'am, not for me. I've always knew he was his father.
And what about from Mr. Norris Sr.? Did he take care of Junior? Was he present in his life?
While he was there.
Up until the time.
While he was there, he did contribute.
He did.
That he wasn't my son. When she said he wasn't my son,
he never.
That put a dagger in my heart because I was a young man, and I felt like, you know, this is my first kid, and he's a boy, so I was excited. And I mean, for her mom to say that out of anger, that's pretty deep, I think.
Why would she say something like that?
She was angry with him because the way he was treating me.
Oh.
And we wasn't getting along. And she knew that he was a cheater as well, living in our home, being with us. And he was still,
I've been in
a cheater, and we
other
were married.
relationships wherein my spouse or what have you, her and I didn't see eye to eye all the time. But the grandmother never came out and said something like, I mean, that's pretty deep. You know, that was,
well, I have no control
like
over what my mother said to him.
That just took everything out of me. It was like, man, why?
And you never thought, oh, maybe she's saying this out of anger or spite.
Well, no, ma'am.
You just said, I believe it. She said it.
Why would I look for you? You left.
That's just something.
You left your son.
Your Honor, true enough, I left. But the thing of it is, her being a mother, you think that she'd look for me, you know, for child support, come after me for child support or something. She never even did that.
I was hurt.
And he's 30 years old, 31 years old.
I was hurt, I was alone, and he was gone. Why didn't you say where you were going? You didn't have to deal with me anymore, but that's your child, your son. You should have had
I was out of here.
With your son.
I didn't tell her where I was going. I told her I was done. And
you didn't even let me know you were leaving, Mr. Norris.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. What was life like growing up without your father? I mean, you had 8 years to get to know him, and then he sits you on his lap, and the next thing you know, he's gone. What was it like after that moment?
On the subject situation of my father not being there, you know, induced a great deal of anger, you know, upon me, and I acted out in different subject ways, as in, got in a variety of fights. I was very rebellious.
Mm-hmm. All right. But you just decided to keep pressing.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Understood. Ms. Norris, at what point do you decide to search for Mr. Norris Sr.? When do you say, okay, he's not coming back, and that's my son's father? Where is he?
Yeah, I was like, how can somebody just abandon him? But when I decided to search for him, it was about 6 years ago, I believe. Mm-hmm. I had moved to Georgia with a friend, and she helped me to go online, and we were able to find a family member of Mr. Norris. I gave them a number to contact me, and he did. I gave him an address for my son to write him, and he's promised that he would, which that never happened.
I don't recall that, Your Honor.
You don't recall me giving you an address for your son?
I don't recall that.
When we spoke on the phone and you told me you were remarried and had a son, then that's when I talked to Beverly. Me and Beverly, we actually communicate.
That's so ironic.
You know, and we get along.
You know, women tend to take sides with one another anyway. They get on Facebook.
No, I don't go on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook, Your Honor, that often.
And
I speak with her on the phone.
And stuff like that.
On the phone.
Mr. Norris?
Really, I mean, right now,
He's a trip.
She don't know who Beverly is. But they speak to each other, and it's like they've been knowing each other, and they've been physically going out together.
Of course we know each other about you.
So what women do.
So Beverly, hold on. Beverly is your wife. And she's actually here in court with us today.
She is.
I think I want to talk to her.
Yes, ma'am.
Ron?
Yes, Judge.
Can you please escort Ms. Beverly into this courtroom? Hello, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.
It is my understanding that you are married to Mr. Norris.
Yes, I am.
How did you find out that your husband might have a son?
I heard rumors through the years, and I checked it out myself. I got on Facebook, and I contacted his son and got Mrs. Norris's number and talked to her on the phone.
You did? And when you spoke with her, what did she tell you?
I asked her, had she divorced him? And she said no. Broke my heart, but I knew it was the truth.
But you had no idea he was still someone else's husband.
Because
I had no idea I was somebody else's husband.
Come on, would you get off of that lie?
Like I said, it was a shotgun wedding to me.
It was still a wedding, Mr. Norris. I mean, look, was it some part of you that thought that this wasn't real because it was her parents?
I just didn't think it was real. And like I said, I that was my first ever getting married or even attempting to get married. So,
well, he denied to her that when he told her he never had kids and he never been married before.
well, he's not my son.
True.
And so once you confronted him about this, what was his explanation?
That his grandmother said that that wasn't his son, and he believed her. And he told me about the wedding, and it wasn't for real. I really wanted to hear her say I divorced them.
That's what you wanted to hear
That's
her
what
say.
I wanted to hear. Just really wasn't any reason for him to lie to me. We were too cool, we was too tight, you know?
I can see how much that hurts you.
Yeah.
And so after 16 years, the man you thought was your husband.
It's her husband first and mine second, and
No, it's
that
yours.
couldn't be. You know?
That's your husband.
Your Honor, she's running my marriage. She is.
How am I running your marriage?
By getting on Facebook.
I didn't
with
get
my
on
wife.
Facebook.
I
Your
did.
wife got on Facebook.
They get together,
I
they
did.
talk.
No,
you know,
we
women
talk
gossip
on the
stuff.
phone only, Your Honor. We have never talked through Facebook. She found my son on Facebook, sent her number inbox to his.
Well, not hard to find. All she's got to do is
Right.
type in her husband's name.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
How women talk.
Yeah.
We're not bashing him or
We're not.
anything like that. Talking about the grandkids.
Right, exactly.
things.
You have 3 beautiful grandkids
Yeah.
you never even met.
So, Ms. Norris, does this all, I mean, because it seems like you all are being very adult about this.
Yes, we
Very.
are.
And I really appreciate that.
Because it
But-
is what it is.
But has this caused a level of stress in your marriage with Mr.
Absolutely.
Norris?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Well, I was
Trust,
devastated, Your
everything.
Honor, when I found out
Trust.
that. I'm
With
sorry.
trust?
Everything, because it was nothing to lie about in the first place. So now what? I don't believe. You know, I love him.
I didn't think I was married.
After he told me he divorced me and I spoke with Beverly and found out that we were still married, I was like, what? I'm still married to this loser?
You didn't. Wow.
I mean, that's why I'm here today, because I want to know. For 8 years, I thought he was. That's why I gave him my name. But then it was iffy, because she was gone, like I said.
We were both gone.
It hurts, Your Honor, because I named him after me, Your Honor. I loved him. Like I said, that was the first time a woman ever said that a kid was mine, even just verbal. If God don't wake me up tomorrow, I'll know today whether he's my son or not.
We have those results, and I'd like to go to them right now. Ron? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Norris Jr. versus Norris Sr., when it comes to 30-year-old Johnny B. Norris Jr., it has been determined by this court, Mr. Norris Sr., you are not his father.
I told you, Your Honor. I told you he wasn't my son, Your Honor.
Well, I believed he was, and I do apologize.
And I accept. Oh, my God.
It seems like even though you didn't believe it, that there's pain right now for you.
Well, it hurts, Your Honor, because I named him after me, Your Honor. I'm shocked, totally. My heart goes out to his mom, because I honestly believe that she thought he was my son.
I really did. I really thought he was.
The question is then, Miss Norris, do you know who is?
I have an idea.
You do?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you feel, Junior? Are you all right?
I'm good.
Are you?
Always
I did.
smiling. And I'm sorry, son, because all these years I really truly thought that was your father. And you know how strongly I felt and how I told you. So I do apologize to you as well.
Ms. Beverly, would you like to go over and stand with your husband? JB, Senior, are you all right?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
What are you feeling in this moment?
I kind of got cold feet a little bit about coming because I know them skeletons come out the closet. You
I'm
know,
a skeleton picker, ain't I?
Yes, ma'am.
Ain't no
very,
good.
Very good. But you're beautiful with it.
Yes,
Thank
she
you.
is.
And you keep it real.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Well, we're in a place where we can move forward on many different levels. And I hope that you find your biological father. You deserve to know.
If I may.
Yes, sir.
I'm keeping the name, bro.
Oh!
Cause I built, man. You know, you can name your son, your next son, or your son, Junior.
No, I'm done.
Keeping the name.
I'm done.
Ms. Johnson, you claim the defendant who has a child with your first cousin is your son, Kiaris's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you say Mr. Milford's done nothing for Kiaris, and you've dragged him to court to prove he is the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Milford, you don't believe Mr. Johnson is your son. Your claim is that you perform police actions with air defense artillery while in the Army, which exposed you to radiation, making it impossible for you to have more children. Am I correct?
Yes.
So, Ms. Johnson, what has Mr. Milford done for your son?
He's done nothing for my son, Your Honor. He didn't come to the hospital.
Nothing?
Nothing at all.
Explain.
He never came to the hospital when my son was born. Anything I needed for my son, Mr. Milford never provided anything. Mr. Milford only came by to see me. He didn't come see my son.
26 years old?
26 years old. I have 2 sons by Mr. Milford.
Your Honor, she never told me she was pregnant.
I did.
She always told me she had a tumor.
I'm sleeping with you. How would you think it's a tumor?
She told me she had a tumor.
How would you think it's a tumor if
She
I'm
said-
sleeping with you
I
the
mean,
whole
she
time?
just
Did you
Now-
know at this point that he had a child with your cousin as well?
Yes, I did.
At what point did you find out you were pregnant?
I actually knew I was pregnant. I didn't tell anybody.
When?
She told
I
me
was
it
like
a
5
tumor.
months, 5 or 6 months.
So when you found out you were pregnant, he says you told him it was a tumor.
No, that never happened. I hadn't even been to the
Lord.
doctor, so how can I say it's a tumor when I didn't
She
go to the
never
doctor?
gave me. She never told me when the birthdays would come in. When she never gave me a sonogram. What she's saying just don't add up.
So, Miss Johnson, you get pregnant. Do you say to him, Dwayne, Mr. Milford, I have something to tell you. I'm pregnant. Do you ever have a conversation?
Yes, I did.
And how did that
He kept
conversation
asking
go?
me, was I pregnant? But he said, I told him it was a tumor. But why are you asking me if I'm pregnant if you think I have a tumor?
Because I figure you lying.
So when he asked you, what did you say?
At first, I told him no.
Okay.
But then I told him, yes, I was pregnant.
Why did you tell him no at first?
Because I was scared. I was young. I was scared. I already had 2 children. I didn't want to be pregnant again. I've been actually dating Dwayne since I was 17 with my second son, which is not his. I ended up getting pregnant with Kiaris later.
Now, Mr. Milford, when she finally
She told me she
you,
was 7 months pregnant when she told me.
so she said, and I'm 7 months.
Yeah.
At that moment, did you have instant doubt, or did you think,
It was
well,
instant
maybe...
doubt. I snuck to her house and knocked on the door.
So what, you a ninja?
Her sister knocked. Her sister answered the door. Her sister 1 year younger than her. I said, what's Shannon? She said, she in the back room. I said, in the back room with who? With a man.
Yeah, I slept with other people. I did.
I said, well, just tell her that man must be the baby daddy.
And nobody
And I
ever,
went on
because
about
that
my
conversation
business.
never happened. That never
And I
happened.
went on about my business.
He come to my house and asked me, could he see his son?
Oh, wait, back up. When you saw him, did you say, oh, wow, that could be my son?
No.
Oh, you didn't? But you used to sit and rock him and hold him
mean-
for hours? Yeah.
No, I had
Yeah. The way you came to my house.
I have 2 children.
How did I get
by
pregnant with
another lady.
Kimande if I didn't want sleeping with you? You came
He
to
was
my
not
house.
sleeping with me then.
All right,
We
Ms.
did.
Johnson, Mr. Milford, I want to hear from Kiaris. Mr. Johnson, I feel for you sitting here. I mean, listening to this go back and forth. You've been hearing this all your life. This has been the confusion you've lived in for 26 years.
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you told that this man was your father?
At one point I was, but then I was told he wasn't.
You were.
Yes. I just don't feel I should be going through this because I didn't ask to be here. And I'm just, I don't know.
Go ahead,
I'm real
hon.
hurt right now because I wish I did have a daddy because I probably wouldn't been in much trouble as I was and homeless at times and getting taken away and being in group homes. Maybe if he was around, maybe some of that stuff wouldn't happen to me, but he didn't really try to be around. Not that I seen.
Ms. Johnson, at one point, Kiera says that you told him that Mr. Milford was not his father.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, because he told me if he couldn't be in my life, he couldn't do anything for my kids. This is how it's like I had to sleep with him to get him to do anything.
Lord.
So yeah, I didn't want him to be the father, but I know he is. So he wasn't around.
Your Honor.
Mr. Milford?
Yes, look, my mother told me to get this straight before she died. So I went down to the DNA place. She didn't show up. This the
It
third
never
time.
happened.
The
When did
third
that happen?
time.
When did that happen?
The third time she showed up with the kids and got to arguing with the DNA people. And
That never happened.
And they ran out the door.
When I lived in the
oh my-
county, I was in another relationship, so I was not worried
Wait a
about
minute,
you.
wait a minute. You went to try to submit for a DNA test
I did
3 times.
submit 3 times.
Ms.
On a
Johnson,
court
you're
order.
saying that
It never happened.
It was
When
a
I lived
court
in
order
the
for
county, I
Richmond.
was in another relationship, and he was not my focus. My children were my focus.
So you're saying you never even knew about
I
it?
never knew anything
Your
about
Honor,
it.
Your Honor, only time I really
But if
seen-
you telling me you can't have kids, why are you trying to do DNA tests if you know for a fact
Because
you
you
can't
shouldn't
have children?
be telling children them lies like that.
Why?
Look, Your Honor,
Why not? I was still sleeping with
every
you.
time I
That's
look,
the point.
when she come around, she needed lights on or water on or whatever.
And you
That's
never
the
had the
only
money.
time. I didn't. I used to cut them on.
Yeah, you cut them on. You never gave
Yeah.
me any money to do
Oh, I
anything.
mean, that's all
and
I
I
could
was
do.
still sleeping with you then, so
I
what
would
are you
do that for
saying?
anybody that had children.
I was
I-
still
you don't
sleeping with you
understand
then.
Let me tell you something, Your Honor. I've been shooting blanks since about 1986. I ain't had no more children. Yeah.
We have 2 children.
I ain't got nothing. There's no other.
We have 2
no
children.
other
You were
children
not sleeping blank.
from since I left the military.
you
You have
believe
2
you're
children.
sterile. Please explain to me.
I worked in air defense artillery in the military underneath radars. And I got out 84, 83. And I think I was sterile till at least about 89. I was knocking down everything, but nothing coming back. Nobody else had babies. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
If you slept with them as much as you slept with me, it might have happened.
You're saying you were exposed to radiation.
Yes, I was.
Which
Overseas.
you believe caused you to be sterile.
Right. I hadn't
All
made
right.
anything. Nobody else came back with nothing. And her own cousins told me that I couldn't be the daddy. So.
All right. At this time, the court would like to call an independent witness, Ms. Shavella Jones. Jerome, would you please escort her into the courtroom?
We'll bring you up to the witness stand right by the judge.
Ms. Jones, welcome. Thank you for being here. What do you know about this situation? How are you related to what's going on here?
I had a baby by him first. I dated him all the way through school. I don't understand how they even went there.
Because Ms. Johnson is
My first cousin.
your first cousin.
Correct.
Do you believe he's Kiera's father?
Well, no,
You don't?
no, I don't. She was kind of like a round-away girl, okay?
When you say she, you mean Ms. Johnson?
Correct. She had already had 2 kids, and then she had him.
So when you say you don't think Mr. Milford is Kiera's father, do you say that because you know that she was intimate with someone else?
Yeah, probably about 4 or
Yeah,
5 people.
I was.
So, Ms. Johnson, you're admitting that during the
Yeah.
time you were intimate with Mr.
Yes,
Milford.
I'm trying to find somebody to love me, period. I was young. A lot of things had happened in my life, and I wanted somebody to love me. And at the time, this is what he was giving me. He was the one I was consistently sleeping with. I was sleeping with him practically every day.
No.
But now, Ms. Johnson, you do understand, and I know this happened when you were younger, that it's not just about consistency, it's about the window of conception. Meaning, you could sleep with him consistently for a period of time and yet sleep with someone else one time.
Yeah.
And they could still, in fact, be Kiera's father.
True, but I mean, I slept with him consistently. When I told him I was pregnant, Dwayne actually didn't have no doubt when I finally told him I was pregnant. He was happy. And I said then, this is not going to work. You have a baby by my cousin. We shouldn't even be sleeping together. But he always sugarcoated everything and made it seem like it was okay.
And see, I fought you. It's your fault. It really is. Because you're 8 years older than her. She was a child.
6,
you
7
had
years.
no business. I
didn't even know who she was. Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
All you want,
I want you to say
was a sugar daddy.
You didn't.
You could have had anything.
I wouldn't sleep with you, so you wouldn't do nothing for the kids.
No,
you said it point
Mr.
blank.
Milford and Miss Johnson, this could go on forever. I keep giving you all a little leeway to see if maybe we could get somewhere. I still don't understand how one person can go down for a DNA test 3 times. I don't understand why you don't just call and say, hey, they're calling me back in again. You want to all go together so we can get this resolved. It's just a conversation.
It never happened. We never really talked. All we did was have sex most of the time. That's why.
Mr. Milford, I'd like to hear from your witness. Please stand, ma'am. State your name for the court.
LaBarbara Jones.
Ms. Jones, you are?
I'm the daughter of Shavella Jones and Dwayne Milford.
Do you believe Mr. Johnson is your brother?
I don't know if he's my brother or not. I know he's my cousin and I love him. I know this is my father. I know that this whole mess has made us separate. We used to play together, hang out together. I probably was 10 or 11, maybe like around that age. You know, we all played together. We had a really close bond at that time as cousins. I think I told my mom I didn't like that having to call him brother kept being like forced upon me. We didn't even know really about sex then. How are you telling us about brothers, sisters, cousins? You know, we don't have any idea what to do with that. It's even awkward now as an adult. When I call him my cousin and he calls me a sis. So when I go over there, I never met his girlfriend before, you know, so he's introducing me. He introduced me as his sister. I'm standing there like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm not gonna correct him, but at the same time, it feels awkward to me because to me, he's my cousin.
And Mr. Johnson, how does this make you feel? I see you standing there, you know, you're trying to acknowledge Miss Jones because that's what you've been told, that this is your sister, and yet she says you're her cousin.
Yes. It's awkward, but I was told she's my sister, so I call her my sister.
She hurt by all of it, but she started the mess anyway because...
I started it because your father said something to me.
That's ridiculous.
You shouldn't have...
She should have waited.
But your father... Dwayne was the one told me I was doing the wrong thing by separating them because I didn't know what to say.
We were cousins. We were never separated. That's
so now,
no, he said I was not acknowledging who y'all actually were together. And I said, I don't know how to go about this. Just tell him. Now, this is him telling me this.
Did you ever have that conversation? Mr. Milford, did you ever have that conversation? Did you ever have that conversation?
Never.
Yes, you did.
Don't know where you live. You never tell me. I had to find out from somebody else.
But you found a way to sleep with me. You figured that one out.
Oh,
It is obvious to me that you slept with this young girl for a very long time. It's also obvious to me that she probably went to you because after dating her cousin, someone she looked up to, then you start looking over at her. She's a young girl, impressionable, ended up in the bed with you. And now every conversation she says you had with her, you stand in court, Mr. Milford, and you say it never happened.
I was working 2 jobs. I never had time for all this sex. I don't know where all this sex came from.
So
I had that much sex. We would have 15 children.
But no, you couldn't have done that because you were sterile.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It just don't make sense.
No, this is exactly what I'm saying. None of this makes sense. It baffles me how we can be standing here arguing back and forth between the two of you as to what happened and what didn't happen and what's fictional and what's not, when this young man over here is not a piece of fiction. He's a person. The story is exhausting. And he's had to live through this for 26 years.
Yeah, and then you acknowledge him 1 minute and the next minute you don't.
But Ms. Johnson, you gotta own up to the fact that you tell him that he's his dad 1 minute, and then when you try to figure out, then you say he's not.
I told my son that.
I think at this point, The past is the past.
Yeah.
What has been done has been done. We cannot change it. What we can change today is the confusion that you've had to live with your entire life. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. I know this is very emotional. If anyone would like to sit down, you're more than welcome. In the case of Johnson versus Milford, when it comes to 26-year-old Kieris Johnson, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Milford, you are not his father.
Thank you.
Wow. That's, wow. Mm.
I'm sorry, Kieris. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, sir.
Oh.
I'm so sorry, Kieris. Mr. Reyes, you've opened your case today because you doubt you fathered Miss Prickett's 11-month-old daughter, Moon. You've been raising Moon, but now believe you were duped and are certain her father is the defendant's ex-husband. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Additionally, you've petitioned the court for a forensic voice analysis test to determine the extent of the defendant's cheating. Ms. Prickett, you claim you are certain that the plaintiff is Moon's father and hope to prove it and save your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Reyes, you say you're raising a child that is not yours. Explain.
Well, this should be my first child, Your Honor. And I have reasons to believe that there's a possibility that she's not. There's been a lot of circumstances that are mysterious, confusing, and unexplained. And I would love to find some closure.
And I can see the pain in your eyes.
Yes,
this
Your Honor.
really bothers you.
Yes, Your Honor.
You feel like you're in the position where you are raising a child that's not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I see she's currently pregnant.
Yes, ma'am.
So this has to add to the stress.
Absolutely.
So, Ms. Prickett, what is happening in the relationship? Mr. Reyes believes you're setting him up to raise a child that isn't his.
Well, Joseph is definitely the father. I've never been unfaithful with him. He has a great bond with Moon. He is the father. This is insane that he even thinks that he's not.
All right, well, we want to figure out why would he think that he's not? So take me to the nature of your relationship. How did you meet?
At work, he put his number in my phone, and about a month later, we started dating.
And then you just were dating casually, and at some point you got serious?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're together for about how long before you find out Miss Prickett is pregnant?
I'd say maybe a year.
So you're together about a year or so, and everything's going fine. No issues with trust?
Well, yes.
I accused him of cheating, and I had my insecurities, and we went to couples court, and I got my answers, and from there, you know, our relationship actually
Was he cheating?
No, he wasn't.
And so why didn't that resolve the issues?
Well, this is new to me that he doesn't believe that he's the father of our daughter, Moon.
Well, I only believe that because she used to say, if you question me about cheating, then you must be cheating yourself, while she's questioning me about cheating.
So that is a very old adage. Like, people said that for a long time.
Yeah.
The person that's usually accusing the other person of cheating is usually the person that's doing it.
Right.
Why would you suspect that she's cheating at all? Why? What has she done? What has happened?
Well, there's a few things, you know. One of the things is that I woke up around 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, somewhere around there, you know, and she wasn't home. She wasn't in the house, and her car was gone from the driveway.
That's odd, Miss Prickett.
Well, it was actually 6 in the morning, and
She got back at 6.
What
She could have been
Joe
gone for
has
hours.
to realize is that I do have a child with my ex-husband, and I felt like I needed to resolve issues with him. And
At 5 in the morning.
At 5 in the morning?
well, our schedules, that that was his only time because he works.
Okay, so even if that's the only time your schedule would permit at 5 in the morning, why wouldn't you tell Mr. Reyes?
He was sleeping, so I just woke up and I thought, I need to get this done. We have issues and we need to talk one-on-one.
Miss Prickett, that don't make no kind of sense. It don't even sound right. I just woke up in the middle of the night and said I need to resolve issues with my ex. So I get out of bed in the middle of the night, I don't tell my boyfriend, I drive over there to resolve issues. That makes no sense.
It sounds bad from his perspective, but that's very important to me. I felt like we needed to resolve this issue. And
so I'm just gonna leave that alone because it's no man or no woman in the world that wants their partner waking up at 5 in the morning getting ready to go see their ex. Like, it just doesn't work like that. So let's move on. Mr. Reyes, are there any other incidents that happened that led you to doubt?
Yes, there are.
Explain.
The second incident was I was working at a restaurant, and I would normally get out at 10. She'd normally be there between 10 and 10:15. There was one incident where she said she was on her way, and she stopped at a gas station. She didn't come get me until 2 hours later while she was dodging my calls and my text messages. And then when I finally get a hold of her 2 hours later, this is around 12 a.m., 12:15, she says that she was at the gas station, a random man randomly filled up her gas tank and then asked her for a ride to his hotel and then gave her $100. So now she comes and then she calls me on the way back to me and then she starts telling me what happened. In my mind, I'm like, this is too wild. There's too many stories, too many variables. You went here, you went there, you got $100 for every stop, and you got a full tank. And then you're gonna come pick me up 2 hours later. But the thing is, that kills me is that she was not responding to my calls or text messages.
There is no way to suggest that that could be rational. That just didn't happen like that. Miss Prickett, who were you really with?
This random...
There's no way a single woman in this day and age is gonna be out by herself getting gas, late to pick her boyfriend up from work, and is gonna decide to entertain this. I mean, that is just absolutely ridiculous.
It was a crazy thing, and I wish I said no, but unfortunately I said yes. And then he offered to give me $100, and I said, okay, I'll give you the ride. And then he left his phone in the Uber, so I downloaded the app on my phone to get in contact with his Uber. And he's like, tell the Uber driver I'll give him $100 if he meets us, so I get my phone. So I'm trying to help him, blah, blah. He says, I'll give you another $100 for doing this for me. So I was like, okay. And I was trying to, get in contact with the Uber. So
you using your phone to get him an Uber, but you're not using your phone to tell your boyfriend, hey, I'm running late, babe, I'm at the gas station. This does not make sense.
I just didn't know what to tell him. I know I should have told him.
Jerome, check my nameplate. Does it say Boo Boo the Fool?
No.
This is crazy. At some point, she says, I'm pregnant. When she says that, can you take me back to that day? Do you remember that day specifically?
I felt excited. I felt, full of joy. But at some point, there was a part of me that felt doubtful if it could be my child or not.
So has he ever denied the baby, Miss Prickett?
No, Your Honor. This is actually new to me, that he thinks there's a possibility that he's not the father.
I've implied it multiple times.
Which is also bizarre, like his stories.
Oh, his stories are bizarre? Well, ain't that the pot? Calling the kettle black.
Right.
So he told some bizarre stories about his doubt. So was he there with you during the pregnancy?
Yes.
Did he go to the doctor's appointments?
Yes.
Was he there when Moon was born?
Yes,
Participated in the birth?
Yes.
Did he sign the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you said you had doubt, Mr. Reyes, but you went through the entire process.
Well, I felt confident at that time, and then as Moon got older, she started resembling her sister, which is not my child. So I started feeling a little concerned about it all.
They're sisters, and they look like me.
So here is Scarlett on the left and Moon on the right. Beautiful babies. But yes, they have the same mother. What's happening here?
Well, there's another incident that I once went into her phone, and she was logged in to her ex-husband's Instagram account. And she'll snoop around other people's accounts with that account. And I confronted her about it, and then she said that she was checking up on him because she was worried about him.
We're just gonna start calling this the X Factor. You are doing what we call the most.
The reason is my ex from high school was in the news, and I was concerned because, you know, we had a history together. And I shouldn't have done that, but I was honest with...
You so concerned about all your exes, but you leaving Mr. Reyes sitting at work for 2 hours. What is going on? I don't get it. I really don't. I want to understand. And I'm not even doing it to badger you, but every time you tell a story, when it's getting to the part and I'm thinking, okay, she's going to finally make this make sense to us. She's going to say something that ends in a logical conclusion. And then it just goes left.
It's not normal.
So if Moon is not your biological daughter, will that create doubt around the baby Miss Prickett is carrying?
Absolutely. If it can happen once, it can happen again.
I'm almost speechless, which is rare for me. You do understand that these behaviors, the way these scenarios have played out, would lead any normal human being to doubt. Do you get that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do understand that?
Yes.
Is there anybody in this gallery that could accept the story? No, really, I want the truth. If they were told the story, could just accept the testimony that she's given, if you were in a relationship? No. I see how you look at Moon, Mr. Reyes, and I can see the tears in your eyes. What are you feeling?
Pain?
You feel pain?
Yeah.
Can you describe the pain?
It's just a feeling in your heart, you know? Something that just the ultimate worry, I would say.
That's a way to describe it. The ultimate worry. Never heard it put like that, but that pretty much sums it up.
It's powerful.
The only way we're going to move forward is to get to the results, and I have those for you. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Reyes versus Prickett, when it comes to 11-month-old Moon Reyes, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Reyes, you are the father. Congratulations.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't think I saw you smile all day. How's it feel?
Super good.
Well, we have resolved the question of paternity, but we still have not gotten resolution as to the fidelity. And I have those results as well. Jerome, may I have the envelope? Because even though Moon was proven to be your biological child, that does not necessarily mean Ms. Prickett has not been unfaithful to you. And it also does not necessarily mean that the child she's carrying now is your biological child if in fact she has not been faithful.
Yes,
and these are the answers you requested from this court, and we have them for you. Ms. Prickett, you submitted to a forensic voice analysis, which is similar to a polygraph examination. There are AM and FM frequencies in your voice, and when you tell a lie, the FM frequency goes away. Ms. Prickett, you were asked, since the start of your relationship with Mr. Reyes, have you had sexual intercourse with anyone other than Mr. Reyes? You said no. The voice analysis determined you were being truthful. Well, it's been proven Miss Prickett has not been with anyone else. Moon is your child. We've arrived at a great starting point. I wish I could take this entire moment, get a beautiful box, put it in there, put the bow on the top, and send you all off with a gift of a stress-free, trusting relationship. But that's not how it works. We got some work we gotta do.